Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Boy, do I have something for you. The Sophie Turner-led television disaster is on its way. It's filming right now, and Laura Croft is not going to be the sex bombshell that she once was, at least not according to Sophie Turner herself, which is a bad sign for the television show. Now, you have to remember, this was done all the way back in 2001 with Angelina Jolie as a film and even a follow-up film, which meant the first one was kind of successful. And at the same time, it is more like the video game than even the follow-up video games that showed up years later. So what's the point of rebooting something if you're going to make it of lesser quality, lesser value, and of lesser interest than the actual audience that would be looking for something like this? I don't know, but hey, let's dive into it. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K. So do me the small favor of double checking you're still subscribed to the channel. And if you see the subscribe button down there and it's red and it says subscribe, click on it and turn it gray. Then hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. And while you're down there, hit the thumbs up button too. And that'll be all the engagement that we need to keep growing this channel like a weed. And with your kind help, I'll just say, thank you. Now, let's get into the story. Coming to us from That Park Place after the weekend, we've got Trevor Denning writing this title. Sophie Turner says her Laura Croft won't be a sex bombshell. Now, look, I understand that a lot of actresses want to be looked upon for their great works and performances. She doesn't have either, so we need to probably focus in on the fact that she might be a good fit for the character as far as how she's presented, which I think is equally as important as the performance that she might bring to this role. Except if you've seen her act in anything, it's not very good, at least not in my opinion. Can I say Dark Phoenix Saga to anybody else? Maybe that is going to get through to a few of you, but it didn't work out very well, and the X-Men was lesser for it. And again, it's all her fault. But from the article, actress Sophie Turner is doing little to ease the minds of some concerned Tomb Raider fans. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, the star, who will play Laura Croft in Amazon's MGM Studios' upcoming live-action series, said she will not portray the character as a sex bombshell. Maybe you mean sex symbol, which I don't think you could even carry off either. And that's not to be overly critical of her. It's just, I don't think it's within her to carry that off. And while her performance in the Game of Thrones was passable, even enjoyable at times, I don't look at her in any of those ways, and that's probably good for me. But the audience may want to, since that was one of the reasons that they cast Angelina Jolie for the original film in 2001. You want something that's going to look like the video game, and you want something that's going to appeal to a male audience. Well, and even a female one. Guess what? Ladies like looking at other attractive ladies too. And maybe, just maybe, criticize them a little bit. The comment has intensified debate within the Tomb Raider community about whether the new series from creator Phoebe Waller-Bridge, also not something that inspires a lot of confidence, will remain faithful to the spirit of the game. Since her debut in 1996, Laura Croft has been defined by a blend of sex appeal, athleticism, and lethal competence, traits that together shaped one of gaming's most recognizable icons. And a new take on that icon would be good if it was good. Can anybody anticipate this being good? Not me. Actors often speak about how a costume informs performance. With Laura Croft, whose tank top, shorts, and twin pistols became instantly recognizable, that image has always been central to the character's mythology. Over the years, however, she has also developed a distinct personality that the fans have come to expect. The character has appeared in 2 other live-action films, as well as comic books and animated series. And unfortunately, a lot of newer takes on Laura Croft have been a little bit lacking in all of the areas that the fans were expecting, especially in looks. because she doesn't look like the supermodel turned Tomb Raider that she's supposed to be portraying. It's just an odd thing indeed. In her interview, Turner drew a sharp contrast between Lara Croft for the Amazon series and Lara Croft in the video games. It's about her and her story and what drives her, rather than what so many people also love about her, which is how hot she is in the games and the movies, she said. But I really want to show the other side. She's so unashamedly capable. She is not a woman who hides her strengths at all. Except that's not really what the character's about. Does anybody see what's going to happen here? I think I do. How about you? Let me know in the comments below. From the start, Turner's look in the role has raised concern among gamers. The first promotional images show Turner in Lara Croft's traditional outfit, but some fans felt the actress did not fully embody the character. YouTuber The Critical Drinker said they've definitely got the outfit down, so props for that one at least. But all I'm seeing is some random actress role-playing, or cosplaying, as Drinker said, as Croft. And I understand where he's coming from. Of course, the costume that was presented in the imagery we got early isn't what she's necessarily wearing during film. In fact, she's quite a bit more covered, as you've seen in the thumbnail itself. More backlash erupted with the release of the first production images from the show. Rather than showing Lara Croft in her traditional shorts and tank top, the new on-set images had Turner in tactical gear, a blue vest, gray pants, long sleeves, and combat boots. Not really the Lara Croft we've come to know and love. Now, Turner is offering insight that goes beyond Lara Croft's look and into how she is approaching the character. Angelina Jolie was the first to bring Lara Croft to life in a pair of 2000s action films. Both were commercially successful, as I mentioned before, and seemed to balance sex appeal with spectacle, which they did, and I appreciated that. I also liked the stories, despite oftentimes complaints about whether or not they wanted to be an action series or a sci-fi series or kind of a balance of both. It was kind of a grab bag at the time, and it worked perfectly for some kind of video game adaptation, which again, this was a successful one, so they got it right. Jolie's portrayal reflected the heightened action aesthetic of the 2000s when stylized spectacle dominated the genre. Jolie's costume wasn't a perfect replica of the games, but the films leaned into the stylized fantasy that defined early Tomb Raider. At the heart of the character, however, was always been a larger question. What makes Lara Croft iconic beyond the label of sex bombshell? And I never saw that. I never saw this quote-unquote sex bombshell that everybody's afraid of. Did you? If so, let me know in the comments section below. The challenge of reinvention is that you don't need to, and you shouldn't. If you want to retain the fans, this is a bad plan. But Turner's comments suggest a version of Lara Croft shaped less by spectacle and more by interiority. That may resonate with newer audiences, but for longtime fans, Lara's confidence, athleticism, and sex appeal were never mutually exclusive traits. They were part of the same larger-than-life fantasy. Now, look, I'm not going to pretend nor continue to read on into this article that this is not just a little bit disturbing for me, having been somebody who played these games since they were conceived and has also watched the original films and thought that the newer games were a little bit lackluster and left much to be desired. But I thought there was a chance, just a chance, mind you, that we would get something akin to Jolie's performance in this television series, since they're investing so very much in it. Boy, was I wrong. And my expectations are now about floor level, and you couldn't even put an ant under the limbo bar to allow it to get under. At this point, there's too much room for error when it comes to anything that MGM has greenlit in the recent past. And hopefully, now that Sulky's gone, the near future will get things that are much better and are desirable and have solid storytelling for a change. But those are my expectations. What are yours? In fact, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Is this Tomb Raider something you are going to try to watch? Are you sold on Phoebe Waller-Bridge being the writer and the showrunner, since this happens to be a television show? And do you think Amazon is even capable of telling a story like this? And finally, do you think Sophie Turner was the right casting choice, or was she a big miss? Let me know your thoughts, as I said before, in the comment section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Just probably not watching this silly show.